I can't tell you what it really is. I can only tell you what it feels like. And right now it's still like in my windpipe. I can't breathe. What up, though, everybody? Happy Thursday. You are tuned in to She Evolves. Yes, it is a whole rebrand. This is She Evolves with Nikki. So, in honor of domestic violence awareness month, I have to continue this conversation. So, once again, I got Kevin Dunn from Mirror Image Media. I got tongue tied for a minute, though.
Yo, it's all good. It's all
I got
good.
tongue tied for a minute. It's been a long day. So we are live here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So I don't know who watch it or where you watch it from, but make sure you hit that subscribe button. It is at Ivy Nicole. Don't forget that HNICHOLE. That is my name across all social media platforms. So we're gonna actually get into the conversation of healthy, unhealthy relationships. And I figured it's only right to have a male perspective. Otherwise, it's just, two chicks on live, just pretty much just talking shit, right? So, I want to have that balance. So, what's up, Kevin? So, for those who don't know you, what's up? Introduce yourself, sir.
Yo, no doubt. Appreciate you having me on, Miss Nikki again. I appreciate it. What up there, everybody out there? What's up, all my brothers and sisters out there? Appreciate y'all tuning in. For those who don't know me again, my name is Kevin. Um, I am a producer of talk program called Brothers and Sisters, which is broadcast through Mirror Image Media, which is a media apparatus created by us, um, for us essentially, no point intended. But yeah, that's who I am. Father, brother. I'm here. I'm here. Glad to be here. Glad to be alive.
Most important.
Yeah, because it's hectic out here. Uh, uh, we definitely had a lot of discussions about relationships and whatnot. And like I said before, me just going through relationships on a personal end, just, like anybody else, it inspired me to create a platform where we can have these discussions amongst ourselves. And like I said before, just pretty much create a healthy atmosphere for us to be able to have these conversations and be constructive about it. Like you said, we get into these modes sometimes where it's like, it's just you and another person, or you and your homegirl, or two brothers like myself, and a lot of people get the impression that we just sit around bashing the opposite sex all day, and that's not what we about.
Right.
We're about constructiveness, positivity, healing. You know what I'm saying? Especially for us as Black people.
Definitely. So, before we actually get right into the conversation, because, it's always so much to say as it pertains to relationships. I do want to acknowledge Kimberly Woodson of Redeeming Kimberly for such an amazing event. Congratulations on your event, the Labor of Love or Domestic Violence, that she just did this past Sunday. It was awesome. It was amazing. Just to kind of bring awareness to domestic violence and what it looked like. And it's ironic, that now the trending thing is these red flags, right? Have you seen, like people posting red flags or whatever, like these little random posts on social media? So, like, let's talk about what these red flags are as it pertains to um, an unhealthy relationship, because an unhealthy relationship can evolve into a domestic violence situation. If you're not careful and if you're not being like proactive or whatever, like in setting your own personal boundaries, and you're saying like, nope, this is not going to happen in my life, and just being able to speak up and speak out against like domestic violence or any type of abuse, because domestic violence is not always physical. You know, it could be mental abuse, um, spiritual abuse. It comes in so many different forms. And when you actually look at unhealthy relationships, I always say it's levels to it. So let's talk about some red flags or deal breakers, so to speak.
Yeah, that's definitely been like a hot term. I was actually talking to one of my brothers recently about that, about not ignoring red flags when you see them. I think it's really important to start to be able to even identify them. I had a conversation. I actually did a small video on transitioning from one relationship to a new relationship. And one of the things that I see and I've seen that tends to happen, I'm sure it happens to all of us, going through the process of transitioning between relationships, is that a lot of times we carry baggage from the past relationship into a new relationship, not even realizing that we still holding on to things. You know what I'm saying? We develop connections with people, and it's not always easy to break off that connection just because you say, oh, it's over, we ain't together no more. You know, it's not always that easy. So, with all that being said, one has to definitely process that whole transition. If you're going to break off one relationship and go into a new one, you really have to be wholehearted about that, to say the least. Like, you really have to take that serious and don't bring no baggage from your past relationship, because it's going to affect the new relationship that you're jumping in. You know, a lot of people go around saying that, oh, this is just my friend, and you know, we
A
knew each other for,
situationship.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
situationships, or you know, oh, I used to date this person, but we broke up, but we still cool. You know, stuff like that. They try to justify holding on to something from the past that they claim that they're separating from. And in a relationships, that's where things get complicated, and that's where the person who's newly in the relationship um, can be able to identify those red flags, you know, because a lot of times the things that we carry from the previous relationship can show even in a new relationship with a totally different person. You know, again, you know, people throw around a lot of different titles and things of that nature. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah.
But it's those are some of the things that needs to be paid attention to. You know, if you're in a new relationship and you're getting to know a new person, and again, they, you know, are expressing themselves to you or what they have been through, their previous relationship experience, um, those moments are where you can identify what you may find unacceptable, what you're willing to deal with. You know, a lot of people have children. You know, that's when you get into the baby mama, baby daddy, you know, drama, those type of issues. You know, um, but a lot of those things can be resolved if one, you know, simply takes the time to reflect on themselves, figure out what they really want, figure out what type of relationship they want to be in, as opposed to just kind of jumping around and trying out new things just because the last thing didn't work out.
Okay.
It's like you really have to take the time, be single for a minute. You don't even, it's no doctrine or anything out there that says you have to date or be in a relationship. In fact, I think it can be healthy to spend some time alone, away from the social media or any other distractions that may come about. Just taking that time to spend with yourself and reflect on what's most important to you, reestablishing yourself, getting grounded, and just understanding what it is that you really want, as opposed to, you just going off what people tell you should do, or what your parents or your family members or whoever say that you should do. A lot of people like also throw out advice sometimes when they see you going through something, or you may have been through a traumatic experience in the past with a past relationship, and sometimes people can throw you bad advice and you may not even know it. You may take it verbatim and end up using that or applying it in a certain way, and it ends up being to your detriment. So like I said, I think it's really important to take that time to reflect on yourself, before you even jump into that new relationship, or get into a mode where you feel like you're ready to devote yourself to a new person. Because at the end of the day, if you're not giving your all, or you still holding on some stuff from the past, again, you're going to pretty much shortchange the new person, and that new person, if they are so inclined, they're going to be able to see them red flags, and they
but not all the time though.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
A lot of,
if they're inclined.
Yeah, but like oftentimes, we say, don't do the whole rebound situation, right? Mm-hmm. It's unhealthy to rebound, meaning you go from one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next. Yeah. But like I think, like as we talked about before, a lot of women, me myself included, struggle with these daddy issues, right? So it's easy to say, you know what, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna fall back, I'm gonna work on me, and I'm gonna do what I need to do so I can be healthy in the next relationship. But then what happens when that loneliness kick in? So then you end up in a situationship after situationship after situationship, because you're really on a quest for love. You're looking for love in all the wrong places. Let's be real. So it's a lot of time. Unhealthy relationships is a matter of, what, I'll just take what I can get because I know what I'm dealing with, opposed to I'm going to start over with somebody else, right? Because if I'm in an unhealthy relationship today, and I already know what this dude is about, I already know what he's not going to do, I already know what I'm not going to get out of the relationship, right? But if I break up with this situation and I have to work on myself, start over, and try to meet someone else, I don't know who this person is. I don't know what to expect. So it's almost as if sometimes, psychologically, it is more comfortable sometimes to kind of stay where you're at, because you know what you're dealing with. You know what you're going to get. You know what you're not going to get at the end of the day. It begins, that whole cycle, the cycle of abuse.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's, man, and you pretty much hit it on the head, like with that type of issue, and it's a certain type of danger that comes with that. I'm gonna just say that, when you jumping from this relationship to the next one, because everybody's not gonna offer the same thing. There are some core fundamentals or basics, if you will, that pretty much we supply each other just as human beings, just as interacting amongst each other. There's certain basics that we're going to supply, but
Right.
I must say, love is a drug.
Love or lust?
Love.
Or lust.
Love is strong. Lust can be too, but love is a strong thing. You got to know what you're doing with that, because it's a beautiful thing, but it can also hurt you. So you got to be careful.
Does love hurt?
It can hurt. It does sometimes, yeah. Don't it?
Okay.
I would say it does. It not always, because like I said, it's a beautiful thing, you know, but as they say, too much of any one thing can be unhealthy for you, or it can hurt you.
Okay. So let's talk about what love is. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact of what do you love? Who do you love? You know, the whole concept of love. Because you can either love someone, you can like them, you can lust them, or you could just be intrigued by them, right? And oftentimes, you know, when we meet someone, you know, we're going into something new in a new situation, or you know, whatever the case may be. You know, we're on this quest, we're on this mission to try to get to know this person, right? So we don't know anything about them, and they may fit the description of what it is that we want and what it is that we think we like, right? So, but oftentimes we find ourselves more intrigued by the person. Like, I'm intrigued by you. I want to get to know you. You know what I'm saying? So how do I get to the point to where I like you? Because I can't really say that I like you, because I'm just intrigued by you. And you know, after that representative kind of passed by, then you just be like, I don't really know if I like this person. And I think sometimes it's more important to like somebody than it is to love them. Like, because I love puppies. You know,
yeah.
I love I love little cute puppies. You know, rest in peace, my little doggy. But I love him. You know, my dog never did anything to betray me or anything like that. That was you call pure unconditional love. You know what I'm saying? But when you're in some type of relationships with other individuals, we could talk about the soul ties, right? We could get into that whole spiritual aspect of just being connected with somebody that you really shouldn't be connected to. And then you start getting all of your feelings, intimacy get involved. You know what I'm saying? You start having sex. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
You know, and you think you like this person, but in reality, you just like what they do to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can be in lust and not love, or like this person, but I love the way you make me feel in this moment.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, for sure. And that's why, as I was mentioning before, it's important to know how to distinguish between the two, and understanding what love is or can be. And that's, love is like a complicated thing to explain. I'm sure everybody might have a different, you know, definition of it. I think it's more intertwined with like how you feel and like the inner emotions where love come from. But I'm not gonna try to, like, you know, break that down, or you know, act like I know it all. It's most of the time it's something that we feel, and of course it doesn't automatically happen. You kind of grow into things like that, and like I said, when you're dealing with people that you have no prior knowledge of, you just getting to know each other, like that type of thing has to grow. It doesn't just happen spontaneously. I know some people may say it's like love at first sight. I won't really
lust at first sight.
I haven't experienced that, but okay. I know it's just like with a family member or something like that, you know, you grow to love people sort of as you get to know them, and you know how compatible you are, how well y'all get along. You know, is it any one person that, and it's just a rhetorical question perhaps, but
Okay.
do you know of any one person that you wouldn't mind being around like 24/7, 365?
No.
I mean, those are things that you have to think about. If you're going to talk about loving somebody, like, that's love. If to me, if you can be around somebody 24/7, 365 and not get tired of them or nothing like that, like, that's some strong, that might be another level. But you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's really something that you have to kind of go inside and determine for yourself. Can't nobody force you to love nobody, and you can't force nobody else to love you. You know, you present yourself as you are and try to be the best that you can be. So that way you don't have to go out of your way to prove nothing to nobody. You just being yourself, and other people will automatically gravitate towards you because they attracted to you. They attracted to who you are, how you present yourself, you know, your personality, all of that. It's like a total package, you know, but you have to take the time to make sure that package is wrapped tight, you know. So, you know, that, yeah, those are my sentiments about that, I would say.
Okay.
You know, the man, it's like relationships they can be complex, but I also believe they can be simple. Again, if you take that time, and it's a I think it's a fearful thing to many people about being alone. A lot of people don't know how to be alone. Like, some people can't even take it. You know, some people will sit, you can put in a room that's quiet, there's nothing going on, and they'll be going crazy, like, oh, I need to turn some music on, or I need to do something, I need to be moving around, it's too quiet in here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I've heard of some people, you know, having those type of issues, and that in itself can be considered a red flag if you're considering, you know, dating or being in a relationship with that type of person. You know, you have to understand, okay, if I'm being in a relationship with that type of person, I'm gonna need to be available like all the time, you know, for that type of person. And see, are you willing to deal with that? Are you willing?
No.
You know what I'm saying? You have to ask.
So is that a red flag, or is that boundaries? Because, like, let's talk about the difference between what a red flag is versus, like, you're setting boundaries. Because, you know, we can say, like, as a woman, I'm a single woman, you know, I'm 40, no kids, and I prefer to not date a man with kids, right? Okay. That's a standard. Boundaries is, you know, something as simple as, hey, you can't pop up to my crib unannounced. That's setting boundaries.
Right.
But when you get into red flags, it's those red flags that, you know, you say something and they just kind of just flip the switch on you real quick. That's a red flag.
Yeah. That's interesting, you know, and for everybody who's tuned in, y'all could check this out. But I was talking to my barber about boundaries. Go on Mirror Image Media YouTube page. You'll see the videos we did. Well, I broke the video down. But in any case, we talked about boundaries. And boundaries are something that we all should have, even, and not even just in dating. I'm just saying in general, for yourself, you should have boundaries. You know, they used to speak about like a little, like a sort of bubble, or, you know, kind of like hell, I'll even say nowadays, you know, with the current circumstances, we have this 6 feet type of thing. You know, that's a boundary. I'm just using it as an example, but
Okay.
you have to set boundaries. That's a part of knowing yourself. Also, again, what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept from other people. Those are boundaries. Now, red flags, on the other hand, those are red flags is just an indicator of something that is not right or something that you may not be willing to accept or whatever the case. But it's like a warning sign of what's to come, you know. And again, that's something you have to pay attention to. It's something that comes with foresight, if you will, to a certain degree. Red flag is just an indicator, you know. And again, you can see red flags anywhere. It's just like, you know, if you driving down the street and you see stop signs and different signages and things of that nature, that's just like a red flag. It's telling you something. It's not telling you the whole story, but it's telling you to stop for a reason. It's telling you to go for a reason. It's telling you to yield for a reason. You got to look out. You know what I'm saying? Look out, because there's other things out there. If you're not paying attention, you could get hurt. But again, going back to the boundary aspect, if you create boundaries ahead of time, and so that when you get into a relationship or just getting to know somebody else in general, you'll be able to tell them, hey, you know, I don't like XYZ, you know, or, you know, I like going to the movies, but I don't like scary movies, whatever, you know, or.
Are those boundaries or just likes and dislikes and standards? You know, I wouldn't even really call that like a boundary. It's just like, you know, like, hey, I'm not a like or a dislike, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's, you know, probably not the best example, but
you know, like I think a red flag is like once you actually set a boundary and then someone tests that boundary, then that's a red flag. Like if I tell you, don't call me after a certain time, and you push your limit and you gonna do what you want to do, then that's the indicator that, hey, I'm gonna push this to see how far I can go.
Right. For sure.
That's a red flag.
For sure.
You pop up to my crib, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. Just pulling up unannounced, or, you know, those are type of things you set boundaries for, you know.
Right.
First and foremost, getting to know somebody. It's just like you said, you know, I don't accept calls at midnight. You know,
no, absolutely
don't call
not.
me after midnight. You know,
don't call me after
those
10
are
o'clock.
my boundaries. Yeah, yeah, and you know, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. You know, and again, when the red flag pops up in your psyche, again, you have to determine now, like, okay, am I going to continue to allow this, or am I going to go forward with this, or am I just going to let this person knock my boundary down just because I like them or I'm attracted to them? You know, you see what I'm saying? People tend to start compromising when they get into these new things just because they want to feel loved or feel accepted. You know, and again, we
That's
had
true,
this.
Though.
Yeah,
that's true.
You know, and like I said, you know, my barber and I was speaking about this, and that's a part of why I think a lot of relationships kind of, you know, get derailed, if you want to say. Like, a lot of relationships fall off because sometimes we don't pay attention to the red flags. You know, we're infatuated, or we all lovey-dovey and feeling like we're in love and this person is this or that. But it's like, you gotta always pay attention and have some intuition with yourself, you know, to know when something ain't right. You know, get out of there. Don't stick around. You know, if it's smoke, what they say with the smoke analogy. If you see smoke, it's probably a fire nearby. You know, don't go running to the smoke, you know, thinking you're gonna, you know, get a positive result out of that. You running towards danger, potentially.
Yeah, you know, I think that's
some people want smoke. I digress.
But yeah, like that's a very like good analogy, you know what I'm saying? But again, oftentimes, you know, we as individuals, it's so much easier to say this and to have this conversation opposed to actually putting this work into practice.
For sure.
Because we are humans and we have feelings and we have emotions and we have needs, right? But I think it eventually it does get to a point where you just be like, fuck it. No, I'm done. It's over. It's going to be either this way or it's going to be this way. And it's going to be nothing in between.
Yeah. And you know, and we got to be careful with that too, because again, some things get drawn out to a point, almost to like a point of no return. And like you were speaking on earlier, that's when the abuse potentially starts to happen, you know. And I did check out that video with you and Kimberly. That was a great video. I appreciate you all's perspective on that, because it's definitely something that needs to be spoken on, you know. And it's something that we've experienced so much that, like we talked about before, you almost become numb to it. You know, it's like that Stockholm syndrome. You know, people like end up basically falling in love with the person that's abusing them and don't even think twice about it, you know. And that's a really unfortunate thing. But again, it can be avoided if one learns how to deal with they self first and be comfortable with they self and work on those little insecurities and try to you know, reconcile some of those issues if you can. You know, some people, if your parents still alive, you know, it's okay. You know, it's all situational. Everybody got a different situation or whatever the case may be. But a lot of these things, it's not rocket science either. You know, it may be complicated, but it's not. It's doable. You can do it. You know, if you really believe in yourself and you're really driven to create progress and be better and, you know, construct yourself in a better way, you can do it. You know, you can do it. That's for everybody. Me, you, everybody. You can do it. You know, don't sell yourself short. Don't shortchange yourself just because you're insecure or you have certain fears. You know, take small steps to confront it. You know, if you have issues with your parents, you know, you may have daddy issues or whatever. If your dad is still around, try to seek them and let them know, like, hey, I got issues, you know, can we talk about this? You know, take it from there. I know I'm making it sound simple and practical.
You're making it sound like so simple.
Look at it on a basic level. Try to look past all the smoke screen and all of the issues that you may have had in the past. You know, try to, you know, push some of that stuff to the side. You've been through it, yeah, but you're still alive to talk about it, ain't you? So, you know, go for it.
Yeah.
Don't
it is. You know, but I do know also that it's just like it's so many deep rooted issues, you know, that we have to try to get through.
No doubt.
It's a lot. You know, like to be a woman especially, to go through daddy issues, and it's a matter of I just want somebody to be my friend. You know, we often, you know, go back to that little girl, like, I just want you to be my friend. I just want somebody to love me, someone to like me, somebody to play with me. And that mentality carries on into adulthood. And what happens is, you know, once you get the mind, the body will follow. These predators are very good at what they do. They're master manipulators and they know the weakness and the vulnerability of human beings, and they prey on that. Because what happens is you take this insecure little girl and she grows up to become an adult. She's still an insecure little girl deep inside. She just dressed up and she's, a legal adult at this point. She's a woman. She looks like a woman. She may go to work every day, pay her own bills, and just do the whole adulting thing. But it doesn't take away from she's still that insecure little girl that was never that has never like really resolved her issues, her pain of childhood, of not not having a dad, or if daddy was around, may have witnessed daddy being abusive to mom, or whatever the case may be. It's a whole psychological spin on that as it pertains to unhealthy relationships, domestic violence. Um, it is it's a lifelong journey. You are working on yourself until the day that you die, because any and everything could trigger you from moment to
Right.
moment. You get triggered and don't even know why you triggered.
Yeah. Yeah. And
You
and
just
that
you just know, like, you just know that you in your feelings about something, but you don't know what, until you reflect back and be like, damn, that happened when I was 8 years old, or something. You start remembering things from your past that was never resolved, and now you're treated the same way as an adult that you were as a child. So to come out of that, it is not impossible, but it takes a lot of work. It is work that you have to do on yourself every single day of your life. It's no program that's
yeah.
going to get you through it. You don't go through a program and then you're healed and you're fixed and then you're able to go into a healthy relationship, after you may spend time with yourself. Because guess what? You could spend as much time as you want with yourself, but you get with somebody else, and let somebody else do something that remind you of something that happened 20 years ago. You're going to go right back to that little girl that you was 20 years
Oh
ago.
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like it's classic with us because us as black people, we've been traumatized for generations, literally, and like still had these same issues, and they just kind of get worse and worse. That's why I spoke about before. Is I know we tend to put like a stigma on mental health and being aware of mental health, but I think more and more people are becoming aware of their own mental health, which is good. A lot of people coming into like certain levels of consciousness and whatnot. But again, a lot of it, most of it starts within yourself, with where you are, and that's where we have to start when it comes to resolving those issues. Start with yourself. We can't fix nobody else. You can only fix yourself. You can't, call yourself trying to groom somebody else up to be what you want them to be. If you got issues, we all got issues. We
Hmm.
all do, and they are very much deeply rooted. But again, it's not to say that it's impossible or you should just give up and go live under a rock somewhere. If we get to a point where we having these conversations and things like regularly, when we get to that point and we start kind of seeing ourselves for what we are and looking at how we can improve, then we'll start having more healthier relationships. you know because that's where it starts. You can't rely on somebody else to fix you. you know Even though we've been harmed and afflicted by other people, you know again, setting up them boundaries and things of that nature, like we just spoke of, those are good ways to start. And if your issues is that deep, and I recommend, seek out professional help. Seek out a professional that can help you, find resolutions to a lot of those issues that you may have. If they, if it's too deep, you ain't got nobody to talk to, try that. Because quite frankly, I think at this point, man, like the mental health and the deficiencies and whatnot, like it's like at an all-time high. I would say, like, I see it's literally like people that's like really just halves out here just walking around like normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's clear that they have mental issues, but they out here is just like damn near regular population. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the most ideal thing, but again, that's why I say, if you have some type of sanity or something, like if your issues is that bad, like seek a professional, you know, definitely seek a professional.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like seeking professionals is very important. Um, because we can't do everything ourselves. We
Right.
can't manage our own mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I go to the doctor every year for my annual checkup. Um, I do, like, when we're talking mental health, I do believe that, that should be part of your routine checkup. You should have to go and sit down and talk to somebody like, what's up?
Yeah.
How are you? How the last year been?
Yeah.
At minimum, to actually get into the conversation of what it is that you're going through. Because oftentimes life happens and we get stuck. This is what a lot of people get diagnosed with adjustment disorder.
Right.
And adjustment disorders is when you can't adjust to a new way of living, a new way of life. You're stuck. You don't know how to adapt. And a lot of times we don't know how to adapt.
Right. Yep. And it's
And
easy.
it causes a lot of anxiety,
Yeah.
depression. Um, you can have anxiety and depression and not even know that you ever had it until something happens that's out of your control, like the pandemic. You go from living your life one day and then you're on total lockdown the next day. What does that look like?
Yeah.
I can't go to the store.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go and get my nails done, even though I've been going every 2 weeks for however many years. Like, this is my routine. So
Yep.
now I can't do these things anymore.
Yep. Yeah. And that in itself, like, has affected us all detrimentally. Like, this whole thing, it has major effects on our psyche, whether we realize it or not. Some people don't even realize it. And a lot of times we try to just go about, normal, quote unquote, or how things used to be, and it's like, no, it's really a new day. It's almost like starting from square one, almost like being a baby again. Like, don't know nothing. You gotta adjust, and you're growing up in this world, But yeah, it's some deep stuff, man. It's
And
deep.
when we're talking about like the pandemic, how many individuals, I don't know the stats, I'm just asking, but I just wonder, like, how many people got into relationships or situationships or whatever out of boredom.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay, I can't do anything else, so
Yeah, or
let
or
me
got
play
or
up with
got
you.
pregnant during the pandemic.
Because you're stuck, you're on lockdown together.
Yeah.
But I do know that the cases for domestic violence did rise.
Yeah.
The numbers went up.
Yeah. I didn't have. Well, I didn't know that. Um, but it makes sense again with the current circumstance that people are kind of forced to be in a small space for the most part, be in these spaces or the confines of our own minds and spaces, forced in so many ways. Um, but it definitely makes sense. Again, it's like it almost, it kind of forces you to confront a lot of things, and it brings out a lot of those internal issues now. Like you said, it's you stuck with somebody for months on end. You can't go outside, can't go nowhere. It's just like confinement or greater confinement, as Neely Fuller would put it. Neely Fuller Jr. would put it. Greater confinement, meaning jail, i.e., jail or prison. When you stuck in that type of situation, it has major effects on the psyche. You know, detrimental effects. So, yeah, I mean, people just basically become prisoners in their own home. The relationships, for what they are. Some people have grown closer, some people grown apart. But it's unfortunate hearing about the domestic violence aspect, because it's like, man, like, it just goes to show that a lot of the issues that we have, they go unresolved. So we just sitting amongst each other, or we got all these issues and people going through stuff in their mind, and you have no idea. Like, you don't even know what people putting on that. I don't know what term you would, use for that, but they kind of put on like this mask, like everything is okay, and it's really not. I mean, I know you study psychology, so you probably know better than I do. I'm not a professional, but it's very obvious. A lot of the issues are becoming like so obvious and so apparent. It's like you can't help but see, like, it's something wrong there.
Yeah, it's just like, some things to, kind of think about, when we're talking being a prisoner in your own home and during the pandemic. If you have women that may have went to work every day or whatever, and sometimes that was their outlet.
Yeah.
That was their means to escape. Like, okay, you know what? I'm getting ready to go to work. I'm gonna pull doubles. I'm gonna, be employee of the month, right? I'm gonna be, the superstar at work because I feel safe here. But when everything shuts down and you're no longer to operate in that setting, you're at home. So now you're there, confronted, with the abuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it may not always be physical. It may just be mental abuse. you know, your partner may not support your dreams, may not push you to be better in life. That's still abuse. That is psychological abuse.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a red flag. If I'm dating someone and they don't support my dreams, no matter how crazy it may be, that's a red flag.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
it's almost as if like it almost it's a sense of control. What is it that you're trying to control here?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I allow you to get this power over me, what are you going to do with it?
Right. Right. Definitely. And it's just like, again, if you really have to, if you able to identify like some of those red flags, like in other people or being in relationships and things of that nature, like you can really avoid a lot of that additional drama and the extra stuff. Like you really can avoid a lot of that if you are able to identify the red flags. Now, if you can't identify the red flags, again, you probably shouldn't even try to put yourself in that position of trying to devote yourself to a relationship. Because again, you can end up hurting yourself, getting hurt, or who knows, you might turn around and hurt the person you with, and then it ends up being this big squabble. And now you're fighting and beating up on each other. You know what I'm saying? It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. That ultimately leads to, imprisonment or death. It's as simple as that. Like it's really nothing good coming out of domestic abuse. It's just like your last guest, Kimberly, was speaking on. Like that was powerful stuff. She lost 2 people. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, it sucks, but that could have been avoided. I'm sure she could acknowledge that. Like, she mentioned that could be avoided. If somebody would have, been paying attention, them or somebody that was close to them probably seen it, probably didn't say nothing or didn't know what to do about it. But it's like, what can you do? But that's why I say, it's okay to have alone time. Like, try to find it within yourself. Even if it's, you stepping away outside for 10 minutes. I know, again, like, it's a lot of parents out there. It's hard to get away sometimes. But it's a way. You find a way. Find a way. Because you know your situation better than anybody else. Find a way, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, to just step outside, turn the TV off, turn your radio off, whatever, put your phone down, and just take the time to just sit in silence for a minute and just think, think about where you want to be, think about what you want for your life, and try not to revolve it around other people. What do you want? Not what your boyfriend, not what your girlfriend want, not what your mom want, not what your kids want from you. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
That's a rhetorical question for everybody. I did it myself,
Yeah.
and I've gone to, counseling. I've seen the professionals before. Issues I've had in the past. Again, I went through divorce. I've been married and divorced. And produce offspring out of that. So yeah, I at certain points had to seek professional help because it's like, man, this is, other aspects of my life have fallen because of this issue that I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? And when you really sit down and get that time to reflect, or you have a professional or somebody around that's not going to be biased towards you, that can help you really find out what those issues are that are so deep-seated and help you get to the root, help you get to the root cause of the issues and your behavior and things like that. And a lot of people don't realize, like, the behavior that they conduct. Behavior is something that's not permanent. Behavior can be changed, and it starts with you. It starts with the individual. And like I said, I'm not a professional, but even I know that.
That's a whole lot of work.
Yeah,
to
it's a lot of
change
work,
your
but
behavior.
it's not impossible either.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
Like I said, earlier, it's very important that, we as humans realize that this journey continues until the day that you die.
No doubt.
You know, you have to constantly work on yourself every single day of your life.
Yep.
Every day, because every day there will be new challenges.
Yeah.
It will be new things that's thrown at you. There will be disappointments
Yep.
that's going to happen. So you are working on yourself every single day in your life. It's a lifelong journey
No
that
doubt.
never ends.
Never ends. And if you want to have a healthy, fulfilling relationship with somebody, you know, bring your best, you know, be your best you. So that way the task is not as hard as we make it, or it's not as complex as we making it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, well, like you said, it's a daily task, like working on ourselves and being better. And you know, if we learn how to like humble ourselves and understand, like, you know, yeah, our issues, you know, we have issues, but that's not like the end all be all. You know, you have a greater potential, and you also have a purpose, but it's up to you to discover and find that and execute, you know, what you're supposed to be doing, you know, and find some level of humility, because we ain't the only ones out here, but it's just up to us to try to bring resolution to your own personal issues. That way, you're not burdening yourself, you're not selling yourself short, and you're not selling anybody else short in the future. You know.
Yeah, I think oftentimes we get fed up,
Yeah.
you know, and the psychological abuse ain't cute no more. The need for attention ain't cute no more.
Right.
Selling yourself short, it ain't cute no more.
Yeah.
You know, eventually we get to that point where it's just like, you know, when a woman's fed up, you know, it's a matter of like, I don't care, I'm good. But it takes a lot of heartbreak. It takes a lot of going through things, recognizing things, being honest with yourself. And, you know, I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, to say, hey, what are my faults? What is it that I do wrong? Where is it that I go wrong in relationships? What is it that I can do to change? Accountability, you know, that's very, very important. And then, you know, once we realize what our own faults is, then we can start actually setting different type of boundaries that's on a whole different level, because it's just like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yep.
You know, like for instance, like I'm gonna tell you, like I called somebody once, they didn't answer. Called them again, they didn't answer. Before that second time, and before that voicemail came on, contact deleted.
There you go. Because you see the red flag.
Because what I'm not gonna do is call you. What I'm not gonna do is text you. None of the above.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because guess what? I'm good.
Yep. Yeah.
But again, that takes a lot of growth. And it took a while for me to get to this point, for me to be like, I don't care, and really mean that.
Yeah.
Because we can say we don't care, but then we be in our feelings. But to actually say, I don't care, and mean that,
Yeah, you gotta
then
be
that's
strong.
when you know, then that's when you know you can actually move on and have a successful relationship.
Right.
Because you got to the point where it's just like, no.
Yeah. It's like, you know, people don't take the time to, you know, be like, yeah, am I willing to accept that? Or are you just going to accept that? Like somebody just, you know, they ain't answering your call for whatever reason. Like, you know, and that's a good thing. Again, like, you know, yeah, it's different for men because it's like, you know, I was the type of person that is like, it's more that I don't care about than I actually do care about. And the stuff that I do care about, I'm very passionate. And you're going to know if I care. You know, it was in so many ways sort of like a defense mechanism, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and again, you know, we're talking about boundaries. You know, that's pretty much what that is. But also determining what's, well, I'll take that back. Also prioritizing, you know, what's most important here in this situation. You know, and it don't even have to be just that, but just prioritizing what's more important here. You know, is me going out on a date, you know, just to have a good time, get some drinks and all that. Is that more important than, you know, a person's communication outside from that date? Is this just like a one-time thing, or you have to consider all of that, like your communication frequency. I've mentioned this before as well. It's like that says a lot. Like the person that you might be dating or getting to know, like how often are y'all communicating? You know what I'm saying? That kind of determines a lot, especially early on when you first getting to know each other. Like, are you taking the time out to communicate and things of that nature, or is it like trying to get in contact with the president? I can't get in contact with this person. They too busy, or they got a bunch
Right.
of other stuff going on. Okay, well, is it worth me continuing trying to pursue this, or should I just dead it, basically? That's something that an individual has to determine for themselves. Are you willing to accept that this person gonna be busy all the time and you only gonna get a certain amount of time with them? That's up to you.
Know what you signed up for.
You said what?
Know what you signed up for.
Yeah. Acknowledging what you signed up for. And if somebody out here parading around red flags, then and you know what to do then. You should. But that's
But
a
guess what?
personal
We
choice.
are out of time, Kevin.
Yeah, this was great, man. We got to get
This was
a
great.
part 2, part 3, part 4.
Part 4.
We need that because these conversations definitely, like we said before, it's almost like never ending. But the more we talk about it, the better result we get. So I appreciate you having me, Ms. Nikki. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Drop your info for everybody.
Oh yeah, so check us out, Mirror Image Media. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Give us a call, 248-727-3163. You can find us again on all major social media platforms. Be on the lookout for new content. Brothers and sisters, we got some good interviews up. We got one with Miss Nikki Nicole on the way as well. So be on the lookout for that. Check us out. Our email address, mimedia5173@gmail.com. Send us some feedback. Check out all the videos. Leave a comment. Drop a like. Subscribe. All that good stuff. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
All right, y'all. And guess what? I'll be back next week. Same time, same place, 5 o'clock, right here. If you're not following me, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. It is Ivy the Code. Don't forget the HNICHOLE. Follow me on Facebook if you're not already my friend. That's Ivy Nicole, the same way, NICHOLE. Ivy is IVY, there's no E in it. On Twitter and Instagram, make sure you follow me, Ivy Nicole N. But it's just Ivy Nicole across all social media. So if you put that in, you can't miss me. So I'll be back next week. Bye, y'all. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you. Peace, y'all.
Peace. We out, y'all.